Girl, with the amount of drama and roller coaster ride that episode 1 of All Stars 2 is bringing me, this bitch is gonna need a defibrillator right now. Nurse! Nurse! Welcome back to the Kiki. My name is Chris Says It. Thank you very much for joining me again this week. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, goddammit. Come join our little family. And this is the Kiki, where we talk and Kiki and gossip about everything RuPaul's Drag Race and Drag Race related. And obviously right now is All Stars 2. So we need to get up in this gig. And I am, I've got my little pad, right? And I'm going to do this slightly differently because I spend a lot of time editing the Kiki, and as much as I like doing it for you, I spend like inordinate amounts of hours editing, and I'm like, you know what? Let's try and reduce the amount of editing. So we're going to do something a bit differently, and we're keeping it casual. Welcome to my sofa. Are we liking the new background? I hope you are. Drop me a thumbs up if you are. So let's get into this. I have my notes. I have caffeine in me. So we need to get on with this. So let's just rattle through. So, you know, the problem is I've taken my glasses off as well. I can't see like shit, but whatever. So some of the interesting things that I pointed out. First of all, how excited are we? How good, like overall, how good was that episode? My God, was not expecting that. Like, as you guys know, a few months ago, I wasn't even sure if I was going to do the Kiki for All Stars 2 because I thought it would be a bit naff if they did it the same as All Stars 1, especially like the whole teams thing. I was like, it's probably gonna be a bit rubbish, and I'm not being funny. I can't even, just like the amount of drama involved in that, and I'm not really one for drama anyway, but that was intense. I was like literally hanging on to my seat, not even on the edge. I was like hanging off of it, like holding on for dear life. So some of the interesting things was like Katya's entrance, knew what she was saying because this bitch plays Dota 2. So when someone's calling you suka, suka, suka biet, I'm like, yeah, I know she's calling them bitches because that's pretty much the only words in Russian I know. It's just when someone thinks you're doing a crap job playing video games online and they're just like, suka, suka. Anyone that plays video games online will know what I'm talking about. What else? Oh my God, Fifi, right? So Fifi, apparently she had 20 minutes to get ready because she woke up late, and I think she actually did a good job. I was going to read her and be like, yeah, you can tell, but actually you couldn't clock the fact that she got that together in 20 minutes, so like, good for her. Ginger's line, let's get this over with. I've heard that before. Where have I heard that, guys? I don't know, but I've heard that before. So I think it was from Reddit, actually. I think someone did like a funny, like, oh, you know, what would your opening line be? And I'm sure someone said, let's get this ... over with. But if that was you, well done. Roxy, okay. Roxy's entrance look, everything. Like, I have to admit, wasn't the biggest Roxy fan, and by me saying wasn't the biggest Roxy fan, I just wasn't a Roxy fan, like, at all. That entrance outfit was spectacular. And out of drag, oh my God, like, Ting. Seriously, serving up, like, Gale from Hunger Games realness. Anyone else feeling that? Was it Liam Hemsworth? Bitch looks like a Latino Liam Hemsworth. I'm like, hey, where my people at? Oh, where my people at? Where my Hunger Games at? Bringing a whole new meaning to hunger. Anyway, and then Tatiana looked proper put together. Like, together. She looked good. Like, she went from, like, cheap-ass hooker in season 2 for, like, anything for $10 to, like, I won't even hold your hand for less than 25,000. So, yeah, bitch turned it. Amazing. So, on to the plot twist. So, at the beginning, obviously, Ru hasn't dropped the bombshell that they're eliminating each other. He just says, I'm not eliminating anyone. So, they get kind of complacent. They're like, it's going to be fine. And he says, but the winner of the lip sync for your legacy wins $10,000. $10,000. I'm in the wrong job. Not going to lie. I need to get up in that gig. That I wasn't really expecting. I had read a review about that, like someone did a review of the first episode, like a journalist, and they did mention about that, and I was like, is this for real? And to have it confirmed, I was like, oh my good God, like that's what they're doing as an incentive to kick people off. The $10,000 cash prize, you know, as an aside from the $100,000 total. So that was amazing. And after obviously that, Ru pulls out the first mini challenge, and not being funny, not to toot my own horn, but bitch called it, right? Let's just have a minute. Let's just
she's in her
watch,
entry
shall we?
outfit because we've seen her walk in. She's holding some kind of funny glasses, binoculars, and she stood where RuPaul is stood. Am I the only one thinking that maybe the very first challenge is the reading challenge?
Not being funny, but I called it. I put like, oh my God, all my Sherlock Holmes-ness, Nancy Drewing skills into it, and so I wonder what else we got right. Anyway, so in the reading challenge, and I'm really excited that the reading challenge like was the first one because I love the reading challenge. And you can only really do it in the first challenge when like the queens actually know each other. So these queens obviously knew each other. So Fifi, was actually pretty good. I thought that was decent, a lot better than season 4. Like Jesus Christ, oh my God, right? Katya, oh my God, this bitch. I nearly died. I nearly fell off my chair. I nearly pulled an Alaska and was like flat out on the floor. That bus stop joke, bitch. Literally, my jaw was like, hello jaw, hello floor. Have you met each other? Let's get acquainted. Literally, I was just like, what's Roxy gonna do? What is Roxy gonna do? And the fact that she laughed, but it made everything okay. But like everyone was just like, bitch, did she really go there? And of course that bitch went there. Like clearly though, this is showing us that Katya is not worried about what everyone else is thinking this year. Like obviously in season 7 she was like all in her head, second guessing herself, and now she's established herself as basically a nut job. She's cool, like she good. So she's like, I'm just gonna say the joke. Everyone was wanting to make a bus stop joke, but no one had the guts, and she bloody went there. I mean, that was brutal. Probably one of the funniest reads we've ever had. Alyssa's boost. I'm not funny. This creature, amazing creature, is like quote heaven or meme heaven. Everything she says is just A-grade banter. You know, it's like if Mean Girls is like the most quotable film in existence, Alyssa is the most quotable drag queen in existence. She's just unbelievable. Alaska, she was really funny. Alaska was really good. That fall was amazing, but those shoes. Did you clock the boots, honey? Like, bitch, wear some heels. I don't care if you're in a trash bag. Wear some goddamn heels. So then for the main challenge, we have the All-Star Talent Show Extravaganza, which is basically like Drag Queen Got Talent. Like, America's Got Talent, but drag queen. I think it's actually a really cool idea. I really, really like it. So as the queens are getting ready, I noticed like Adore pulls out this like dreadlock wig. I'm not being funny. It's like she just pulled something out of the Hoover, like a rug, like an actual rug out of the vacuum cleaner, and like, yeah, this will do. Like, this is good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that make an appearance. The queens seem to be much more mature. They do actually. Okay, this is one of the notes. I'm just like, I'm going, what am I reading? I don't know what I'm reading. The queens do seem much more mature, like, especially the bitchier ones, like Fifi and Roxy. They certainly seem to, at least in the first episode, because obviously we don't know what's going to happen later on, but in the first episode, they seem a lot more mature, a lot more aware of the fact that what they said and did had negative influences. And I think that they've actually learned from it, like what Roxy was saying about the fact that she said what she said. You know, a lot of people blame the editing. She said, but I said those things and I was horrible to Jinx and I was concerned about one thing. So I thought it was very big of her and Fifi to kind of own up to their misgivings, I suppose. So I'm just wondering if they'll get their redemption through the competition, but at the same time with this element of kicking someone off and very Survivor and cutthroat. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And okay, Katya's confessionals are still everything. Like, obviously they were one of the biggest highlights of season 7, and they are still everything. So let's talk about the judging panel. Okay, before we get to the actual talent show, let's talk about the judging panel. So Jaden Dior Fierce was on the Raven Simone, not Raven as in like perpetually coming runner up, but but Raven, Simone, not Simone, Simone girl, and very much like. Okay, I thought she was cool. And then Todrick Hall, to quote Raven, I'm getting a vision. I don't care. This is the guy that turned up wearing that emerald green plum bob thing in the same week that Marc Jacobs was on the panel. So not being funny, but at least that pink blazer glitter thing was actually half decent. I'll give him that. But I still haven't quite forgiven him for that Emerald City monstrosity that he wore when Marc Jacobs is there. No queen, no. Okay, let's talk about the queens and their performances. So Adore, I thought she looked really good. I know Michelle read her and we'll get to that, but I thought Adore looked good. She had a really good voice. I thought it was a really good song. I kind of liked the hair actually. I thought it was very Adore. So I was like, yeah, it was cool. Alyssa, the outfits were amazing. Great dancing. Dem splits though, Dem splits dough. That's all you can really say. That was really clever from Alyssa. It was kind of like an all-round thing, and she's kind of embracing her naturally funny side. So that's really cool to see. Coco, it was a bit lackluster. Let's be real. That kind of thing only works if you've got either a partner or some really good immersive experience. I know she was trying to go for the sort of the grayer makeup and the kind of create an older world thing. It just didn't really work for me. I get what she was trying to do, and I think it could have been really, really fun. But it just didn't really pull off on the right. Sorry about it. Detoxes, that looked really cool with the oh my gosh, with the drums and the paint and stuff. I had heard a rumor that she was going to do something like that, and I was like, how's this going to work? But it was actually cool. The music, the song, was really addictive. And I thought she had some good moves. I know it was just smearing paint on butt cheeks for about a minute, but if it's right, okay? Ginger, she's actually got a good voice. I knew she had a good voice because she did I Am What I Am with some of the other AS2 girls, but it was a good little song, a bit slower than some of the other stuff that was going on, but she proved that she's got lungs. Cartier was what? That was crazy. Talk about Drag Race Got Talent. There's always some crazy contortionist on one of the Got Talent shows. She brought it. That was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Fifi. Okay, literally the only thing I have written here, and I kind of want to show you, is moustache. That's all I could focus on. She I don't think she'd quite finished the makeup or something, but it was just whoop, moustache. So yeah, and her vocals weren't that great. They started off good and everyone was like, oh, but she's turning it, and then it was oh no, she turned it the wrong way. So it was a shame. I think because she's got a decent voice, she just needs some backing. I don't think she's got as good a voice as she thinks she does, without trying to sound shady, because bitch, I can't sing. But I think she's actually got a good voice. She just needs a little bit of help from backup music or backup singers or something. So that was a shame, because I think she could have at least saved herself that week. Roxy, wig reveal. Come on, it was alright. It wasn't as spectacular as the first one she did. But, she has to do it and be like, bitch, this is my thing. No one else can do it now, because then it's hers. So it's definitely, she made a little mark on the stage. But it was really, really good. It was a very different side to Roxy, the kind of burlesque side. I don't think it was something that we really necessarily expected from her. I know I certainly didn't expect a burlesque thing, and for her to execute it as well as she did. Although I think it's questionable her being in the top 2 because of it. I think a couple of other people might have been a little better. But it was very well executed. So, I enjoyed it actually. Alaska, okay, first thing, I wasn't really sure why she wasn't just doing a comedy skit, because her comedy is her funniest thing. And yes, it was a comedy song, which was funny, and I really enjoyed it. I was wondering why she didn't just go for the pure comedy. But I liked the song. It was funny, very campy, sung very well. So, yeah, it's actually a fairly solid choice, though I'm just wondering why she chose to do a comedy song over just a comedy routine. Tatiana, this blew me out of the water, like, blew my mind, completely blew my mind. Like, I don't know what about it was so intriguing, because I think a lot of people out there are like, I don't get it. But everyone that I've spoken to, they seem to accept the fact that there is something about it that they find intriguing. It's the biggest word, intriguing. I've got written here, intense. That's it. Just, it was so intense and so clever with the double entendre and the way that she performed it. And she's just talking. That's all she did. She just spoke. But it was, as Katya said, very like beatnik meets modern day, poetry slam, realness, the house down boots, drag queen. So I thought it was really, really good. She executed it amazingly. And, she was like, bitch, I'm here. I do things differently now, but I'm going to turn it. And she totally did. And obviously she ended up in the top 2 because of it, and deservedly so, I think. So then we get to the judging and the big, big plot twist where Rue drops the bombshell. Not Pamela Anderson, but the actual bombshell that, although he said, I'm not going to eliminate anyone, he's saying, but you gonna eliminate each other. And even Michelle looked shocked. She must have been in on it, but she looked genuinely shocked. All the queens were like, oh, bitch, like, shit. Like, even though I knew it was coming, I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, ooh, the drama, just ooh. Really. Okay, let's have a moment for Michelle, because I think Michelle has gotten a lot of heat since the episode aired about how she went in on the queens, especially Adore. Let's be real, she was brutal. That was brutal. But I think all the hate that she's been getting, I think, is actually a bit unjustified. I do think that All Stars 2 requires a different level of judging. These are people that aren't sort of being guided to kind of get to that point. These are the best of the best after being the best of the best and having had years to perfect, having the critique that they've had of the experience of Drag Race, have had the exposure. This is not playing around at all. And Michelle's like, she makes it really clear from the start, I'm going to be harsh, take the note, move on. If you don't like it, I don't care. And I get it. This is to find the best of the best of the best. And, I understand exactly where she's coming from. All I just wrote was, Michelle going for it. OMG, this is harsh. Wow. This is setting the tone for the season. I was gagged. And I was gagged. I was just, even Fifi was like, oh my God. And if Fifi is thinking something's harsh, then you might need to tone it down a little bit. But, don't pull no punches. So the thing that I found most intriguing, though, about Adore was that, like, her critique of Adore at least, was the fact that they just did a talent show. And she wasn't really critiquing Adore's talent. She was critiquing her outfit. Adore's talent was singing. It's got nothing to do with what she's wearing. So that was perhaps my biggest, problem with that. Although everyone was like, oh, it's too much. I love Adore. And I'm like, I love Adore. Don't get me wrong. But, I expect these queens to be judged harshly this year. I'm not going to be like, okay, if they're just like, oh, yeah, well, you tried. It's fine. We'll let you sell through. No, we want to see the best. And let's go for it, queen. So, yeah, that was just my biggest gripe, that she was kind of coming more for Adore's look and not for her actual performance, which I thought was very, very good and certainly not bottom 3 worthy. But anyway, what else did I put? Oh, yeah, that was basically it, because obviously the whole judging was just the judging. So, a few other people got some harsh critiques, nothing as harsh as Adore's, although, Coco's thing about looking like soot was a bit like, okay. And, Michelle was harsh. And I think the other judges were very much understanding that they needed to be a bit brutal. Although they did, say that they didn't agree necessarily. I can't remember who it was. I think it was mostly Raven. She was like, I don't agree with Michelle. I thought you were great. But even then she was still very much like, no, it's like, if you've done wrong, you need to step it up, queen. Step it up, like aerobics. Step it up, because it's good for the glutes. So Roxy and Tatiana end up in the top 2. And I have to admit, I was shocked at Adore being in the bottom 3. I'm not sure who I would have put instead of her. Let me have a look. Who would I have put instead of her? I don't know. Maybe Detox. No. I don't know. Maybe Ginger? Because it was just a bit slow. I don't know. To be honest, if it was like the bottom two, it would be Fifi and Coco. Then maybe Adore is bottom three material just because she was third from bottom, so she's basically safe. I don't think Adore would have been any lower than that. I don't think she was the worst by any means, despite what the editing may have wanted you to believe. Anyway, so yeah, Roxy and Tatiana were the top two. And it was intense. I'm not going to lie. So obviously they then go backstage. And again, like I kind of said that I thought like Untucked. I don't think they're doing an Untucked. Am I right? There's no Untucked this year. But that behind the scenes thing where they were sat down, I kind of sort of said along those lines, I thought something like that would happen where there would be like a conversation in the workroom. So like Ting, another one. That was intense. We saw some really intense stuff where they finally realise that they have to eliminate each other. They get to win $10,000 and they're trying to work out a way in which they can do this without basically losing friends. Which, you know, I'd like to think that they were all mature enough to not lose friends over it, but you never know. And it's because it's a very interesting and unique situation. It was really intense. Like watching it, I was just, you know, you just feel that tension and that, like, my heart was thumping. I'm just like, this is horrible. And the emotion as well, when, like, Roxy takes the girls aside one by one and Adore's breakdown being like, I don't think I belong here. Fifi, who clearly wants to redeem herself from season 4 because she's struggled to get bookings and create a new character for herself. You know, to see her breakdown, to be on the brink of, you know, losing out on that chance is harsh. And Coco, I think, although she didn't like being at the bottom, I think she felt secure knowing that Roxy was in control of her destiny because they go way back. So it was tricky to watch. And as I say, this whole episode has just been an absolute rollercoaster. It's been masterful the way that they have handled this by not telling them at the beginning about the eliminations and the $10,000 prize to increase the sort of the incentive. It's just been up and down, and this bit was so intense. And obviously they're trying to work out a way in which it could be fair, which I thought was interesting, because I don't think that's going to last. I know Roxy was really gunning for this idea of, you know, pick whoever you think was in the bottom, like who really did the worst. But I think if it then came to it, would she be able to kick off Detox, or would Detox be able to kick her off, or, you know, that kind of thing. I think the only person that has been honest about the whole thing was Tatiana, being like, no, I'll just get rid of whoever. I think it makes more sense to... I think she said it. It was something along the lines of, she was like very much aware that factions would form, and, you know, would you be able to kick off your sister, like your best friend on there? You probably wouldn't be able to. So, you know, to try and sort of do it fairly, I think is a bit odd. But, you know, you can see that they're just trying to find a way to do it without hurting anyone's feelings. But it was really, really tense, very emotional. But then it was juxtaposed with the judges, because normally they're the intense ones, while the girls are in Untucked. And so you see them, they're just chilling with a cocktail, and they're having a great time. And it was so funny to see the twist, because it's out of RuPaul's hands. It's out of their hands. They've done the judging. They don't care anymore. And they're just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, it's up to them now. But hey, let's have another cocktail. I'm like, I want to be on that judging panel. That's good. Like, RuPaul, if you're watching this, like, if you want someone to help judge, like, let me know. I'll catch a flight to Los Angeles. It'll be fine. So what have we got here? The lip sync has... Oh, yeah, right, okay, so lip sync. Is it just me? When they finally came back to lip sync for that legacy, it has a very different feel, because they're not trying to... Because they know one of them isn't going to go home. So there's not that urgency, but there is a different feel, like they're just trying to show off a little bit. And obviously, I think part of them was like, I want the $10,000, but I don't want to have to kick someone off. So I almost feel like they held back a little bit. I feel they could have gone a little bit more. So yeah, it was good. To be honest, I thought Tatiana was actually going to win the lip sync. I just thought her moves were a little bit more interesting. But Roxy's was a lot more fun. So I can see why they picked Roxy to win the lip sync. And obviously, it's a great start for the show. She's won the first challenge again. She actually won the first challenge in season 5, if you remember. So I wonder what that might say about going forward. I don't know. But she won that, and obviously then she had to pick who to go home. And oh my God, I totally forgot as well. Like, let's rewind like 5 minutes. When they have to pick who goes home, they stood in front of the mirror, right? And they have to pick the lipstick. Again, I called it. Like, in the trailer, that's Tatiana picking who's up for elimination. And I was like, I think they've got something to do, like writing a lipstick on the wall or on the mirror or something. But I called it, like, ting. It's like the third thing I've called. So like, I'm cool. I'm good. Yeah. So yeah, call that one. But obviously they have to pick the name out of the box, and that alone was very intense. But anyway, let's fast forward again, 5 minutes, and Roxy has won, and she stood there, and all three come forward, and like. It's really tough to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was hard to watch because it's a whole new dynamic to the show. Normally, everything is in Ru's hands, and then you can't sort of really question it if you've really screwed up, and you didn't do a good lip sync. It's like, well, okay, I screwed up and I did a bad lip sync, but if Ru's sending you home because it's blah blah blah. But this one, they haven't had another chance to redeem themselves. They don't get that second chance in the lip sync, and the fate rests in their friend. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they've done the worst or they've done a bad lip sync. It entirely rests on their friend. So this is a whole new way of viewing the show, and I'm loving it. As much as it is quite harsh and brutal, it is fantastic television. And Roxy obviously picks Coco, which I wasn't like ready for. I was genuinely thinking she was going to get rid of Fifi. I thought she was the first to go, or maybe Adore, just because she had struggled and thought, I don't really belong here. And I thought she might go, look, I know Adore's not happy here. Let's just send her home and kind of play the martyr card a little bit. Didn't think Coco at all. I thought Coco was completely safe because Roxy was very, very close to her. So I was really, really gagged when she picked Coco. And obviously you could see Coco was really, really upset. But again, I think she understands that like it's kind of the rules of the game this year. So she unfortunately has to sashay away. And then I was like, okay, this is fine, this is the end of it. And then right at the end, Coco gets a mysterious message from Ru being like, all is not lost, you will be able to have your revenge. And my God, how many twists and turns can this show have? Like, I am so impressed with this episode. It's thrilling, if nothing else, it's thrilling. And it got me thinking, what is the twist going to be? So I want to know from you guys what you think the twist is going to be. Let me know in the comments below. Have you got your theories, or what would you like to see? Personally, I think it's going to be a case of one of the queens will be able to return, like in every other season that's happened since season 3. I think one of the queens will be able to return, but at the expense of kicking someone off. So maybe it might even be something like, right, Coco, you've managed to, halfway through there's like 4 queens that have gone, or 5 queens that have gone, and one of those 5 can come back. And I imagine it might be something like, right, you have to do this challenge, and whoever wins gets the opportunity to come back. So then maybe they'll be like, right, you can either kick off Roxy and take her place, or you can steal her cash that she's accrued. Something like that, I don't know. And then it'll be like, well, do I take the money or do I kick her off the show? And I think that could be a really, really good twist, because then it's putting them in their shoes and being like, am I taking your money or am I taking you out of the competition? So that could be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few theories that the eliminated queens get to choose the overall winner, which I thought could be an interesting twist, but I just can't imagine Ru and the production team giving the queens that much power. Even then when they've had to eliminate someone, it's had to be from the bottom 3, which is chosen by Ru, so they still have an element of control. I cannot imagine Ru allowing the girls to pick who wins. It's a big popular theory, especially on Reddit at the moment. I just cannot see it being the case. I think it's going to be something like all the eliminated queens that come back, they will have the chance to return at the expense of the person that kicked them off. That's what I think. So that's my theory, but what's yours? Let me know in the comments below. So that's everything, and I am absolutely excited for next week, which, spoiler alert, if you want a little tidbit of information for next week, Next week is Snatch Game. They are doing a really early Snatch Game this year, and I can't wait. So I'm just really, really looking forward to seeing what they all turn out, because obviously this has to be good, and Phoebe's got to redeem herself, Liz has got to redeem herself, so has Detox in that respect. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they turn out, and I think that's everything from the Kiki this week, guys. So thank you so much for joining me. It's over to you now. Comment below. What did you think of the episode? What do you think about the twist? What do you think it's going to be? About the revenge bit at the end anyway. What do you think about the queens eliminating each other? Who do you think has made a really good stance themselves already? My vote, Tatiana has done an amazing job in the first episode alone to be like, bitch, take me seriously. And yeah, all that jazz. So let's get to Kikiing, guys. Also, please make sure that you drop this video a thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. Come join our little family and get notified every time I post a new video. And obviously comment. And to continue the conversation as well, follow me on social media. I have Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Chris Says It. You should find me. And as well, I will throw it out there. I will mention it because I also have it and people have asked about it, which is why I started it in the first place. I do have a Patreon account. So if you would like to support me in any way, it would be very much appreciated. No obligation, obviously, but go to patreon.com/Chris Says It, and you will find out there's a few ways as well that you can watch my videos 24 hours in advance before the general public. So if you want to get early access to everything, then head on over to my Patreon page. So I think that is everything, guys. So until next week, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, stay fabulous. Keep watching RuPaul's Drag Race, keep being fierce, and I will see you guys later. Take care. Bye.